Now that we've created our obstacle, the problem comes in the fact that our coin is appearing in a random place on the screen. And if we don't do it right, it could appear behind the obstacle. And since our flyer can't go behind the obstacle, then it's not going to be able to get that coin. So now what we need to do is we got to program the coin so that it doesn't appear behind the obstacle like mine just did. Um, so using the same concepts that we use to take care of the flyer, we got to do the same thing for the coin. We could do a bounce off thing, but your probably best bet is just going to be using the collide again. So on here, you're going to get the collide here, and then you're just going to say that the coin dot collide obstacle, and then that will prevent the coin from appearing behind the obstacle. Other options, you could check the X and Y values of where the obstacle is located, and then just program it in so that the coin's never going to appear within those X and Y values. But that is a lot of effort for just a little bit of code that we just put one line in, and we kind of took care of it already. So with the coin now appearing in places that we can get it, let's move on to the next puzzle, which what we need to do here is we're going to change the colliders, because right now the collider of my hamburger is shaped like a rectangle, as is the collider of my coin and the flyer. So if we turn the debug properties to true, and then we're going to see and make sure that the outlines are the way that we want them to look. So at the beginning, if I just don't do that one, if I put my thing here and I say character.debug equals true, then you're going to see here that my flyer is just a rectangle collider. If we do the same thing for the coin, so coin.debug equals true. See, my coin as well is a rectangle, and then the hamburger here that I've set up is also going to be a nice big rectangle. So obstacle dot debug equals true. So you can see the collider comes all the way down, or all the way across and then over, when it should be kind of following a slope. So if I make this one a rounded one, it would probably better fit the shape of the burger than my nice big square is. So we've got to set the colliders of my sprites to be circles. So if you scroll down here, we've got set collider. So I don't think I need to change the flyer collider, because it's pretty well going around the shape of my sprite. So, but if I change my obstacle collider to be a circle instead, then let's see what that looks like. And that follows it a lot closer to the shape of the actual obstacle. So we want to do the same thing as well for our coin to be a circle. So we're going to set collider right here in the coin, set collider, and we're going to make that a circle. Now, notice I'm doing all of this stuff outside of the draw loop, because this is information and things about the sprites that I want to set up before I actually run the program. Remember, in the draw loop, that's where we're going to do things with the sprites that we're going to manipulate and change as we go through the program. So you set up all the information, the background, the characteristics of the sprites first in the beginning before you get into the draw loop, and then you're going to manipulate all of those things as you're going through the program here. So, and this pretty much gets you pretty close to finishing the program. However, what they want you to do on this last one is to set up something unique again. They're trying to push you into thinking about what you want to do to make the program your own program. So some of the suggestions I included earlier, as I said, you can make walls so that you don't lose your flyer guy. He's always going to be inside of the walls. If he's going to hit the wall, then he'll bounce off the wall. Or you just set a collider so that once he gets to the wall, he'll kind of stop. So they talked about using invisible sprites. And really, this is pretty easy to do. You should know how to do this. As you set the visibility of the sprite, you say wall.visible equals 0, and then it's disappeared, and you don't ever see it. So if I wanted to make a wall, then what I would do is I would draw my own sprite here, and I want a sprite that is going to be 400 pixels tall. So we're just going to make a nice straight line all the way down this. Actually, you know what? Let's just we want to do resize the drawing area, and we want the width to be 2, and we want the height to be 400. And we don't want to maintain the aspect ratio, so make it 2 pixels by 400 pixels, resize. Nice big line. And then we just paint in black to make that line solid black the whole way. And then we're going to save this as sidewall. And then we can duplicate it and make it a bottom wall. And we flip it horizontally. Oh, but I guess we gotta resize the drawing area as well. So we make, instead of the width to be 400, or instead of the height to be 400, we make the width 400. Then we resize, and then we can fill this in. And there we go. We've got a bottom wall, we've got a side wall, and they're just these single lines. And so then over in my code, what I can do is I can create, and I'm just going to do one of these because you'll have to do the other ones on your own. So if I do Sprite Floor, and I'm going to create the sprite, but instead of being at 200, I'm going to set it at 400 for the Y because I want it to be on the bottom. Okay, we're going to keep the 200 so it's in the center, and then we're going to set my animation of the floor animation to be my bottom wall. So if I run this, you can see that line that's right across the bottom. So then what I would do is I would set in here, I would say character.collide, and I would set the target to be my bottom wall. So right here I would say character.collide, and that's going to be with floor. And so now when I run this, he's going to fall, and he stays right there. If I want him to bounce off, then instead of using collide, I would use bounce off the floor. And you also, if you want it so that no one sees this little line, then I would just, when I set up my floor in the beginning, I would just say floor.visible equals 0. And then it's like I don't have a floor, I just have this imaginary boundary where it prevents my my flyer guy from escaping down. Of course, I can go over and then fall down, which I think I just did. And now I can't come back up, so you'd have to reset. So unless you make the box all the way around, you can have your flyer go off the screen and lose track of it. And also, if you want to get rid of these debug circles, then you just take the line of code and either set it, instead of true, make it false, or just take the whole line of code out. And then, of course, you see that it disappears. So that's one way that you can customize this for this last step. But hopefully you've been able to get this far. You've been able to figure these things out, and your flyer game is starting to look like something that you created instead of something that code.org came up for you, and then you just kind of added the code. So make it good, make it yours, and hope you've got it all.